72 hours. That's all it took to tear down the 2025 NFL season and build the bracket for 2026. But the bracket only tells half the story. If you want to know which of these locks is actually a trap, and why the math says a sub 500 team is the most dangerous home underdog in years, you need to see this breakdown. Stick with me through the final seed reveals, because the road to Super Bowl 60 just got a whole lot more complicated. Welcome to the show. If you missed it, here is the short version. The Pittsburgh Steelers are the kings of the North, but only by the grace of a missed kick at the buzzer. The Seattle Seahawks have established a new reign of terror in the NFC West, suffocating the 49ers to claim the #1 seed. We have a new all-time sack king in Cleveland, a rookie passing record in Chicago, and a coaching carousel that is already spinning out of control. And the Carolina Panthers? They lost on Saturday, yet somehow, they are hosting a playoff game. We'll explain the tiebreaker madness that made it happen. From the boardrooms in Nashville to the frozen grass of Acrisure Stadium, this is the story of Week 18. Let's get to work. Before a single ball was kicked, the first domino fell on Friday afternoon in Nashville. The Tennessee Titans, sitting at 3-14, decided they couldn't wait for Black Monday to fix their house. Owner Amy Adams Strunk released a letter that fundamentally changed the power structure of the franchise. For the last year, the Titans operated under a collaborative model, a buzzword that often leads to confusion. On Friday, that ended. General Manager Mike Borgonzi was officially handed full control of the 53-man roster and, crucially, will now lead the head coaching search. He reports directly to ownership. Chad Brinker, the president of football operations, retains a massive role in salary cap management and analytics, but the lines are now drawn. Why does this matter? Because top-tier coaching candidates, the guys you want leading your franchise, don't want to walk into a power struggle. By clarifying that Borgonzi is the football guy, with final say, the Titans just made themselves a much more attractive destination for names like Ben Johnson or perhaps a defensive mastermind. They are signaling to the league, we are open for business, and we are organized. Keep an eye on Nashville. They hold the number 4 overall pick and are ready to be aggressive. Now, let's go to Saturday night in Santa Clara. This was supposed to be a coronation for the 49ers. Instead, it was a funeral for their offense. The Seattle Seahawks walked into Levi's Stadium and delivered a defensive masterpiece, winning 13-3 to clinch the NFC West and the #1 seed in the conference. They call themselves the Dark Side Defense, and they played like it. Without Trent Williams, the 49ers' offensive line was helpless. Seattle held San Francisco to 173 total yards, their lowest output since 201. Offensively, the Seahawks did just enough. And we have to talk about Jaxon Smith-Njigba. He caught 6 passes for 84 yards. It might not sound explosive, but those yards pushed his season total to 1,793. That is the second most receiving yards in NFL history for a player under the age of 24, trailing only Justin Jefferson's 2022 campaign. JSN has become the engine of this offense, and with home field advantage through the playoffs, the 12s in Seattle are going to be deafening. While Seattle celebrated, the NFC South gave us the weirdest outcome of the year. The Carolina Panthers lost to the Bucs on Saturday. They thought they were dead. But on Sunday, they sat on their couches and watched the Atlanta Falcons do them the biggest favor imaginable. The Falcons beat the Saints 19-17 in a game that featured a wild fourth quarter. Falcons cornerback D. Alford returned an interception 59 yards late in the game to set up a field goal, and despite a late Saints TD and an onside kick recovery by Kyle Pitts, Atlanta held on. Here is the kicker. That Falcons win created a 3-way tie at 8-9 between the Panthers, Bucs, and Falcons. Because Carolina swept the Falcons in the regular season, they win the tiebreaker. So, despite losing in Week 18, the 8-9 Carolina Panthers are your NFC South champions and will host the Los Angeles Rams this weekend. Only in the NFC South, folks. Sunday brought the cold, and with it, the history books were rewritten. In Chicago, the Bears and Lions played a game that, on paper, meant little for playoff elimination, but meant everything for pride. The Lions won 19-16 on a walk-off 42-yard field goal by Jake Bates, his second game winner of the year. But the story was Bears rookie quarterback Caleb Williams. Down 16-0 in the fourth quarter, Williams didn't fold. He threw 2 touchdowns and converted 2 two-point conversions to tie the game. In the process, he passed for 212 yards, bringing his season total to 3,942. 6 that breaks the Bears' single-season franchise record held by Eric Kramer since 1995. For a franchise starved for quarterback play for a century, Williams looks like the real deal. They enter the playoffs as the number 2 seed hosting Green Bay. That is going to be electric. Meanwhile, in Cleveland, we witnessed individual greatness. Myles Garrett entered the game needing 1 sack to stand alone in history. In the fourth quarter, he beat Orlando Brown Jr. off the edge and buried Joe Burrow. That was sack number 23. 0. He officially passes Michael Strahan and T.J. Watt, 22. 5, for the most sacks in a single season. And let's add some context. Garrett did this facing fewer pass plays, 540, than Strahan, 567, or Watt, 557, faced in their record years. He wasn't just compiling stats, he was the most efficient destroyer of pockets we have ever seen. The Browns finished 5-12, but Garrett's 2025 campaign will hang in the Hall of Fame forever. And then, there was Sunday Night Football. The AFC North title on the line. Steelers, Ravens. It's always a war, but the fourth quarter of this game was a fever dream. If you turned it off early, you missed one of the wildest sequences of the year. 8:42 left, Lamar Jackson escapes a sack and hits Zay Flowers for a 50-yard touchdown. Ravens take the lead, 17-13. 3:49 left, Steelers punch back. Kenneth Gainwell scores from 2 yards out. Steelers lead 20-17. 2:20 left, Lamar does it again. He finds Zay Flowers again, this time for a 64-yard touchdown. Ravens lead 24-20. Acrisure Stadium is stunned. Enter Aaron Rodgers. In his first year in Pittsburgh, at age 42, this was the moment they paid him for. He marched the Steelers down the field with surgical precision. With 55 seconds left, Rodgers hits Calvin Austin 3 for a 26-yard touchdown. Steelers lead 26-24. But it wasn't over. Lamar Jackson, playing with a painful back contusion, willed the Ravens into field goal range. 4 seconds left. 44 yards for the win. Rookie kicker Tyler Loop comes out. The kick is wide right. The Steelers survive. They win the AFC North. Never change, Coach T. The Steelers are the number 4 seed. The Ravens are going home. The joy of victory in Pittsburgh was quickly replaced by the reality of business on Monday morning. In Atlanta, despite winning their last 4 games and finishing 8-9, the Falcons fired head coach Raheem Morris and GM Terry Fontenot. Owner Arthur Blank stated the results did not meet expectations. It's a brutal industry. Morris swept the Saints and missed the playoffs on a tiebreaker, and it cost him his job. In Cleveland, the Kevin Stefanski era is over. The 2-time Coach of the Year was let go after a 5-12 finish. However, GM Andrew Berry remains. This suggests the Browns believe the roster is fine, but the voice in the locker room needed to change. For the teams going home, the focus shifts to April. The Las Vegas Raiders have officially secured the number 1 overall pick in the 2026 draft with a 2-15 record. 14 The New York Jets will pick number 2. The Raiders are on the clock, and the search for a franchise quarterback begins today. So here is where we stand. The road to Super Bowl 60 is set. In the AFC, the Denver Broncos are your shock number 1 seed at 13-4. The New England Patriots are the number 2 seed, led by MVP candidate Drake May. Wild card matchups: Chargers at Patriots, Bills at Jaguars, Texans at Steelers. In the NFC, the Seattle Seahawks run through the West as the number 1 seed, 14-3. Wild card matchups: Packers at Bears, a rivalry renewed in the playoffs. 49ers at Eagles, a rematch of the 2023 title game. Rams at Panthers, the 12-win Rams visiting the 8-win Panthers. It's been a season of surprises, records, and heartbreak. Now, the real season begins. For everyone here at the studio, enjoy the playoffs.